You're a foreigner, we're a foreigner. That's Emily, I'm Peter. You're watching Not Here. We're living in China, not trying to discover it. Did you hear about our amazing subscription deal right now?
Yes, I can tell you all about it. Click right now with no money down and you may already be pre-approved to subscribe.
Yeah, we're not just taking anybody. We're taking applications. People who are interesting, people who are smart, people who are funny, people who are different. If that's you, you're home. You found us. Thank God. The internet's so big and yet we're just a tiny little part of it. You know what's interesting?
No, tell me.
When you move all the way across the country, across the world to a different country, and then you end up trapped in a tiny little apartment.
A tale as old as time.
How are you doing?
Pretty well. It feels... No, it just feels like not good to say, but that we're doing really well with the staying inside. It's not an official quarantine because it's not a medical issue.
I'm calling it a soft quarantine.
A soft quarantine, sure.
I'm sure somebody else must be doing that by then.
But yeah, we're still on the red card system. I can leave the house once every 2 days. And we've been actually leaving the house even less than that.
Today was your red card day.
Yeah, I had the option to go out.
We opted out, maybe even with tomorrow.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we let a 2-day period pass without using a day outside. Which, part of me is like, could I sell that day outside?
No, you can't. That's unethical.
It's unethical.
So you won't.
So I won't. But yes, I mean, there's a rule, we follow it, but in our little apartment, we're having a nice time. I made the most delicious bread.
And so when we're watching, I'm reading in the New York Times a whole article that is talking about how people are shut in across the country. There are truck recordings going around each neighborhood telling us that we have to stay in. They're echoing off the walls in a spooky, authoritarian voice. There's our red cards that are telling us that we can go in, only one of us every other day. Some places are being said that if you go out and you forget your card, you might not be let back in. You need a mask to make sure whether you're going back in or not. So we're getting used to that.
Yeah, well, and I do think because when you list it all out, yeah, it sounds bad. But it's not actually that hard to live through. And stuff like the cars with the loudspeakers of the stay inside instructions, I think extra context there would say that's there's a Chinese tradition of communication of if before everybody had TVs, you'd have your village loudspeaker that would tell you stuff. So it's not that far. It's not like living on MASH. Or maybe it is.
Maybe a little bit. That's the only MASH unit. The only thing that I have to put it into.
Yeah,
context.
but you can also picture that scene in movies about old Chinese village life.
Yeah.
So I don't know if modern Chinese people make that connection, but I made that connection
Instantly.
When we lived in Lijiang, they still had loudspeakers up in our apartment complex.
Yeah.
They only used them.
Well, a lot of times for holidays and stuff, we still have that siren, what's that holiday?
The Murakami event. I hope it's Murakami.
Keep going.
But yeah, so, and I do want to specify again here that there are two crises going on within Hebei and without Hebei, because this is the death toll specifically within the affected province is above 3%, whereas outside of that province, it's under 1%. It's 0.6% today, as of the numbers I just looked up. So it's a different crisis. So when we're cavalierly saying we're making bread, people aren't dying while they wait to get into a hospital bed here in our city.
Right. We're still at 19.
Yeah, we've held steady at 19 people sick.
Come on, people.
For a week. So it's mostly just living in our little spaceship, our apartment spaceship.
Right. And at what point, I mean, people make yeah, it sounds terrifying. I mean, we started off, we were scared in the beginning.
Yeah.
But, you deal with what.
And more so directionless, I feel like.
Yeah. We didn't move to China because we weren't scared of anything, or we were scared of anything.
We're not super brave. We just do it anyway.
Right. We made a choice of something to do. And like a better part of a decade later, to be in a situation where it starts off with like, maybe we should stay in our house. Oh my God, we should stay in our house. Holy shit, what's happening?
Yeah.
To maybe it's not so bad. I mean, it is a roller coaster that we've been going on, and we're like at a midpoint, maybe-ish, of
it's possible.
Either something's going to get better or it's not, but everyone...
What's the scenario that it doesn't get better? Is life on Earth ends?
I don't know. But when we have people that are walking outside, you just saw a little boy on a trikey outside like that, like, I mean, some people are worried that like we're just going to get nonchalant and just kind of like start wandering around outside and possibly spreading the disease further, or we're all going to stay inside and we're going to go absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing is like people are making this their normal life because that's what you have to do, and we included. We've started some projects that, if we don't have resources from outside this apartment, this is what we can do with that. This is our Frankenstein.
We can hear our neighbors. They're practicing instruments. They're learning new skills.
The kids are, learning how to zip their own coats.
Yeah, we watch the dailies every night of what your kids are doing for the lessons that you send out by phone. And they're keeping busy, although there's less and less.
Yeah, I did notice. I don't know if the parents are not doing the lessons as much at home, but they're definitely recording less video of their kids doing the lessons at home. And it was always like certain parents are more apt to film their kid and post it to our private WeChat group than others.
Yeah, it's not like a necessity that they have to
I think
put these in. It's more of a fun thing that we're all involved in. Mm-hmm. But it's becoming a little less fun for us not to go out and not to go to Hot Pot and
there's stuff we
be
miss
cooped up with our
from
kids
the
and watch
outside
them play with
world.
zippers and so at some kind of, let's hopefully call it a halfway point.
It's possible. It's the original, not original, but a strong prediction was that the end of February we'd see the peak of the disease, and it seems like that the rate of new cases is decreasing. Excepting that one day that they added 50,000 cases. 50,000 cases?
I don't know. But
I'm getting stuck in numbers again.
Who cares?
Who cares? I mean, someone cares.
People are people.
People are people.
We have to care about every single one of them.
We're living our life. And I think that's where, like, as you said, this is not a time to get cavalier. If what's working is the quarantine, we have to, or the not quarantine, we have to stick with the quarantine. But it definitely, like, I don't feel scared going outside anymore. Mm-hmm. Whereas I used to come home every time and be like, my throat is scratchy. Oh no! Mm-hmm. Even though I know full well that's not how disease works. You don't like get it in an instant.
And worried about, like, who are you going to meet when you're outside? Like, changing package hands when people are, because we get packages from delivery.
I still wash my hands though every time.
Right, but that's part of what I mean. So now, every time that you touch a thing that another person may have touched outside of this apartment, we go wash our hands. Sometimes even in the apartment. Yeah. So that's normal now.
Yeah.
That's weird.
But that's also like I had developed that hand washing this term with the kindergartners because I was getting sick every 2 weeks, so I was like, I gotta step up my hand washing game.
Unfortunately, it didn't work.
All
your hard work, there was still a disease broke out no matter what.
But I didn't get it or spread it.
It's not your fault.
Yeah, I categorically claim that this is not my fault.
Of all the things that I've done.
I mean, because good hand washing habits is actually. Like, if China comes away with this with the strongest hand washing in the world, that's really good.
The thing is that when you have cars echoing down the concrete valleys of our city yelling, make sure you wash your hands, now it starts to feel creepy.
Well, that's weird. Or just like weird.
I mean, we should all wash our hands. We should all wash our hands.
I just read an article today that actually Americans are terrible at washing their hands, and particularly American men. Do not wash their hands.
I've always said that. I've always, even as a little kid, being in a men's bathroom, like the first time I actually, you're in a restaurant or something, you go to a men's bathroom, and I'm like, where are all these guys going?
Yeah.
Wash your hands. You're not employees or anything. You're the guy eating the steak next to me.
Yeah.
Wash your fucking hands.
So, I mean, if that's the worldwide message we can send is wash your hands.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and it's not anything. I mean, again, this is some of the problems with people outside of the country. A lot of times we're saying that there's no soap in public bathrooms here, that it becomes a racist point that there isn't enough ways to clean yourself.
There's no soap in public restrooms, so bring your own or bring hand sanitizer.
Well, and there is soap.
Well, yeah.
I
mean, we've been in situations where there isn't, but there.
I've been in plenty of situations in America or other countries where there's no soap either.
So it's not. Let's not. We just picked on American men, but they deserve it.
Dirty men.
Yeah, I think that's the distressing thing in the international conversation, is looking for ways to blame Chinese people for what's happening to them. What's happening is a disaster. There's a humanitarian crisis within the city of Wuhan. Stop being racist about it, and
wash your frickin' hands.
And wash your hands. But maybe that's
noodles to you.
Noodles to you.
Noodles to you.